seeing fireworks in August.
It was to the west, the one I saw, and it was bright. It was pretty good.
The McCartys went to the Gates Planetarium in Denver to learn more about the spectacular light show they saw last night. Astronomy expert Jeff Roudis had all the answers.
There was a fireball about 11:15 that lit up the sky, and it was in the southwestern skies from what was reported, and for all intents and purposes I think it was one of the Perseid meteors. Just happened to be a big one, that's all.
It's a fascinating astronomy lesson. Meteors enter the Earth's atmosphere at 130,000 miles an hour. They're vaporized on impact, which creates a brilliant glow.
Think of a car driving down a dirt road. It leaves a trail of dust behind it, and out in space that dust remains suspended, and as our Earth orbits the sun, from time to time we'll go through that dust trail, and that's what causes a meteor shower.
The Perseids come from the Swift-Tuttle comet, which passed through our solar system last year for the first time in more than a century. That means there's a fresh trail of dust.
I've been watching the Perseids for many years, and this was the best meteor shower of the Perseids I've ever seen. They will be seen all night long, but morning hours after midnight, typically 1 or 2 in the morning, is the best time.
They're fairly easy to see. Some of the brighter fireballs were seen last night in Denver without telescopes. But for primo viewing, the McCartys have some advice.
Get away from the city lights.
Yeah, get away from the city.
Okay, Ronnie, you ready to work? Huh?
6-year-old Ronnie Miller has a rare disease which took her ability to walk and talk. A new brainwave device is putting her back in control.
Stay in the blue.
She wears a radio receiver which transmits pulses from her brain to a small black box.
Relax.
This mini computer understands what she's thinking
You're excited today.
and translates her response to high and low beeps.
Ronnie.
A conscious response from Ronnie, calmness or excitement.
You like that, don't you?
This interaction is a whole new world for Ronnie and her parents. The last time the Millers heard their daughter's voice was 4 years ago when she was diagnosed with leukodystrophy.
Metachromatic leukodystrophy is the absence of white brain matter, okay, which affects the myelin sheath. Okay. She was very normal at the age of 2. Walking, talking, driving mom crazy.
Today, the family focuses on getting back some of the control that Ronnie's illness took from her.
You look at somebody who can't move, who can't speak, and you tend to think that they're not there. But we hook this up and we can see that they can control things.
Bra says traditionally not much has been done for people like Ronnie.
These diseases take their ability to interact with the world, and then we shut them away and treat them like they're not there.
This invention gives him and the Millers hope. It also opens doors for those that are locked in.
It's wonderful to hear from her again, you know.
It's been totally amazing. I mean, we have a lot of fun with it. And fun is where healing comes.
Table. 17-year-old Richard Castaldo wheeled himself out of Craig Rehab Center today.
I am glad to be going home today.
Castaldo answered questions about his hospital visit and rattled off a long list of thank yous. He also recalled the day he was shot.
I just remember coming around the corner and, let's see, I guess they threw a bomb first. And I guess, I don't know, 5-10 seconds after that, they just started to open fire.
Just 3 months ago, Castaldo came to Craig in a power-reclined wheelchair. He was completely dependent. His progress in the past 3 months has even surprised his parents.
It's hard to believe what he looked like 4 months ago on April 20th and the way he looks today.
He exceeded our expectations. That left arm got a little bit stronger. I think also Richard is extremely mature. He's a 17-year-old, which you would expect to kind of ditch therapy here and there. He never did.
He has really become wise beyond his years. He held up at times when I was falling apart, and I was like leaning on him.
Richard says the most difficult obstacle he faces now are the mental hurdles.
Getting back to my life the way it was before.
His parents are thankful to have him here and are optimistic about the future.
Thankful that he's up and on his own and damn near independent now.
I feel very, very confident that he will walk again, no matter what it takes.
What are you doing,
Some of the
Gorak?
coolest stuff on the web features sound and pictures that move just like TV.
Wow, that sucks, dude.
Well, maybe not just like TV. A little jerkier and on a screen not much bigger than a postage stamp. Critics say the companies that make the software receivers to view so-called streaming audio and video, that's Real Networks, Microsoft, and Apple, don't always obey the traffic rules as set up by the Internet's designers. When there's congestion on the information superhighway, other kinds of applications throttle back on their demands until traffic eases. But experts say no matter how thick the congestion, streaming media applications barrel ahead.
You know, there is pent-up demand, and consumers do like streaming video and streaming audio.
Analysts say the multimedia demand could tie up the whole Internet in gridlock. But Real Networks and Microsoft deny that their media players break or even bend the rules. Real says it has facilities around the nation so all Internet multimedia roads don't have to lead just to and from one place. Microsoft now ships technology to help manage the problem and is working with a standards committee to find a lasting solution.
I think it's accurate to say there's a lot of work to be done, and they and others are starting to, including ourselves, are working on it. But as more and more people look for rich content, the demands grow on infrastructure that really wasn't created to do what it's doing today.
Goodbye.
The public gets a rare chance to see these fun experiments this weekend. Normally, Gary Cottrell and his colleagues focus on testing water at this new state-of-the-art lab.
A lot of people think it's a black box, that we just put a little water in this end and numbers magically come out the other end. It's not quite that simple.
It's actually a detailed process that starts with water samples from all over the U.S. This lab gets 350,000 bottles of water each year. That's over 1 million test results with details down to the parts per billion.
They have to ship the samples in ice.
After a bottle is taken off ice, lab technicians test for trace metals. A high-tech mixer reveals what's in the water.
Talking cadmium, lead. See, each element has its own color, just like a fingerprint. And that's how we make it work, is the machine knows what color is what element.
Once the testing is over, the water has to be re-cleaned before it re-enters the water supply.
All the water that comes through the laboratory goes out through here. This cleans up all the water, so any of the chemicals that were mixed with it for the testing or anything that was in it when it came in is cleaned up before it goes out.
The different procedures can take a few hours up to several days. For those who like water or just want to see some wacky science experiments, you're invited.
We're taxpayer supported, and we appreciate it. We want to show them that their money's well spent. Let them come in and take a look.
It was a fairy tale beginning.
Just like a movie or something, pretty interested in each other.
A little over 30 years ago, Jack and Sharon Hefner fell in love and had 2 children.
She was quite beautiful. She always was.
Then in 1981, Jack's wife and son were both diagnosed with myotonic muscular dystrophy.
It's a very, very, very difficult thing to go through. Sharon was about 34 and Stephen was about 12 when they were diagnosed in Denver.
Muscular dystrophy in adults is not as common as it is in children, and having both mother and son struggle with weakening muscles is challenging. But there are also happy times.
And so they would play a lot of games together and spend time together and things like that. And I think that means a lot to me.
It's been a year since 52-year-old Sharon passed away.
Although she got down that she, you know, she's pretty positive and pretty strong, and I don't know if I could do as well as she did.
These are my medals.
Her energy is alive in Stephen. He keeps a part-time job and despite his disease is quite the athlete.
Not 7, not 8, but 9.
That's 9 gold medals. Stephen has also found strength in attending MDA camps and makes regular visits to the clinic.
I wouldn't know what I would have done without MDA help.
Jack and Stephen are managing life day by day. This is the first year they'll be watching the telethon without Sharon, but they will be thinking of her.
It's hard, very hard to put in words. You just go on with life the best you can. And
you might imagine a dream home like this costing a fortune, with a utility bill to match.
You can build a more energy-efficient house that doesn't necessarily have to cost you a lot more money.
Starting with double-pane, high-insulating windows, this display home was designed by a team of energy experts. The goal is efficiency from top to bottom.
The wall panels are stuck together in such a way that it's sort of like building blocks, and we get a very airtight, very thermally good shell around the house.
4 separate thermostats regulate the temperature inside, and depending on when and where the sun is shining, the gauges tip towards energy conservation.
In addition, there are sensors that are placed outside that sense the weather conditions that allow you to have an even better control.
From an energy-efficient furnace to the distribution of air, each piece of equipment is optimized so that the energy bill is minimized.
About 30%.
Cutting your energy bill by a third sounds like a comfy financial perk, but what can they do about a cold kitchen floor?
So in the white tubing that's in place, there's hot water that's circulated that creates a very warm floor.
It's called a radiant floor heating system. The same water that is heated in the boiler for everyday use is positioned to heat your feet.
2 jobs in 1. Absolutely. Very efficient.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any better.
If you would obtain a rating on your house that demonstrate that those utility bills will be lowered, that allows you to qualify for a better mortgage ratio.
Money saved on energy might get you a bigger house and a bigger heart as you do something good for the environment. Amy Freeze, WB2 News. Looks like a piano, it sounds like a piano, but it's actually cutting-edge technology for the music world. Traditional black and white keys are complemented by a colorful computer screen and an animated instructor.
Hello, and welcome to Piano Discovery.
It incorporates everything, the cool stuff you could do with a computer, into the beautiful, nice in the living room aspect of the piano.
Move over, Mozart. This software-based equipment takes you from step 1.
You probably already noticed the sounds of the notes get higher as you play upwards on the keyboard.
Or with the touch of a screen, you can create your own original composition, and not just piano sounds. With 128 digital instruments at your fingertips, you're a one-man orchestra.
When I talk with music teachers, they tell me that their biggest challenge is to keep a kid interested because they're competing with television and Nintendos and PlayStations. and there's the entertainer.
Right on. With all my mess ups.
Well, I've already got a piano. Can I do this on mine?
Almost. Starting next month, you can retrofit the interactive music station to your existing piano. With a special computer board, a disk drive, and a microphone, you're in business.
It's software based, which means as we update and add new features, those will be software updates. It doesn't mean you have to trade your old piano in to get a new one.
The plan is to manipulate flames now so that forest fuel can't feed a wildfire later. And weather plays a major part in this project.
We're usually looking for a little more stability, clear blue skies so that smoke can go up, and good transport winds.
Weather made it possible to burn 500 acres today. Ideal humidity and cool temperatures are necessary for the small, steady flames. And a favorable wind for the smoke.
The solution to pollution is dilution.
Crews spread a diesel and gas combination to ignite the forest floor. The resulting flame should fade quickly, but hoses are on hand just in case. Fires are a natural element in the forest ecosystem, but not everybody thinks these burns are a good idea.
We do our best to inform the public ahead of time, and we do our best to accommodate publics who might be adversely affected.
Evidence of the burn was seen earlier today on US 285, and hazy skies may linger on the Front Range.
I think people will probably see smoke on this fire for at least a week. There'll be little bits of smoke. Probably not as much as we've seen on the first and second days after the burn, but usually most of the fuels will have consumed and there'll just be a little minor smoke.
Prescribed fires may prevent a major catastrophe, and when the smoke clears, the forest floor is healthier.
The fire burned through this area, moved through here in 5 or 10 minutes, and because the fuels still had a little bit of moisture in them and we were controlling the fire, if you just go down a little ways, you'll find that the soil's actually still cool and there's still organic matter a little ways down there. We've just cleaned the litter up and turned it into carbon, which might also help the plants find some more nutrients a little.
It's the devastating destruction of Hurricane Andrew, a Category 4 storm that smashed the coastlines of Florida and Louisiana in 1992.
We all remember Hurricane Andrew and the damage it caused to South Florida in 1992. Hurricane Floyd is almost 3 times the physical size of Andrew, 3 times.
What's left in there?
Andrew left unprecedented economic devastation, totaling $26 billion. Not only were neighborhoods flattened, but families feared they lost one another. As a direct result of Andrew, 15 people were killed here. 250,000 people were left homeless. In 1989, Hurricane Hugo moved over South Carolina as the second costliest storm in U.S. history. Cleanup totaled $7 billion. It took communities years to recover. Hurricane Floyd could be as destructive. Its Category 5 status puts it at the top of the storm classification system. Only 2 Category 5 hurricanes have made land this century, the most recent being Hurricane Camille 30 years ago. Ripping up the entire east coast of Mississippi, Camille ranks as America's deadliest hurricane, resulting in nearly 300 deaths. Tonight, forecasters predict Floyd's comparable size and strength may make it the next chapter in hurricane history. Colorado is not isolated from its own natural disasters.
We're not. It's not a safe planet.
The Buffalo Creek fire burned 12,000 acres, destroying several homes, $2.8 million in damage. The Big Thompson flood in 1976 is among Colorado's most devastating natural catastrophes. More than 100 people died. And in just the last 2 years, homes have started to slowly slide off Green Mountain.
Yeah, well, we have rules
Natural
and
hazards
regulations
expert Dennis
because of the
Milletti
National
says
Flood
without a
Insurance
change in
Program.
thinking, hazards nationwide will get larger and more expensive.
The shift that we're recommending for the country as a whole, as well as for Colorado, is that people think in the long term.
If we don't cut it back, the fire's going to do it.
He says building in the pine trees or in a floodplain is not the real problem. Instead, he says society is not owning up to their role in nature.
It has to do with owning that we are the cause of natural disasters. It's not God and it's not Mother Nature. It's the decisions we make.
While changing the way people view disasters won't completely prevent them, Milletti believes it can make dealing with hazards easier on generations to come.
And they're making decisions today, designing the disasters future generations of Coloradans will experience.
Sparks fly at local ski shops. Over the weekend, the workload has doubled.
Get them out of the closet and bring them in and get them worked on.
Head tech Eric Voigt says ski sales are up 34% for Gart Sports, but the smell of money is not his motivation.
The smell of the ski shop, the emulsifier in the machine, the wax in the air, just the coldness when you walk outside, how crisp it is. I love it.
His crew is busy with preseason tune-ups, mounts, adjusting skis, and waxing snowboards.
I'm only going to get busier.
New equipment lines the walls. Poles are ready to pierce the powder, and still there's plenty to prepare.
You gotta be gone now.
Almost snowed last night, so we're ready. It made us feel ready for the ski season, so.
Ready to go. Time the holidays hit and the snow hits.
Don't forget, helmets, goggles, a new winter coat, a hip snowboard, and it's about time to get some new gloves.
I'm hoping for a boatload of snow. We're anticipating a huge winter this year.
Not just huge sales, but anticipating snow that starts soon and stays late. So you've got all your gear and you're ready to hit the slopes. Then tomorrow the weather changes. It's sunny and warm. But don't worry, because you planned ahead, you'll be one of the first ones on the lift. Amy Freeze, WB2 News.
All right, give me 5. Ouch! Okay, let's
When his legs are lacking, Tyrus Norris makes up for in spirit. He's working with technology to get a smoother stride.
Even at the age of 4, he knows that there's something wrong, and he fights against it.
Let's go back to the white line and stand by Dad.
Tyrus makes his way up and down a specially designed floor. His walk is recorded first with his shoes and ankle braces on, then barefoot.
What's yellow?
These are the electrodes, and they tell us when his muscles are firing and when they're off.
A bad way?
It's a
Oh,
routine
no, I
that
think
would
it's a
make
good
most preschoolers squirm and fuss.
Pull out all the bells and whistles and make it enjoyable. 7 and 8 next.
More than 20 markers and half a dozen wires are attached to his small joints and muscles.
So many of these kids have had so many procedures done that this is nothing. You know, it's not invasive. It's not hurting them.
Almost done. A few more passes.
Keep going. Good job.
Then it's time to see how much power is being generated by these strong little muscles.
Years ago, it would actually take them days to reduce and analyze the data. Now, with all the computer technology, the data is available to us within minutes.
Using state-of-the-art technology, including 6 video cameras and infrared lights, information is fed into a software program for data analysis.
Computer-generated images are then analyzed by a team of medical experts.
It gives us a 3D image, a model actually, of the skeleton, and so we can see precisely what position each part of the body is in.
Every joint, the point of a knee bend, even the rotation of the pelvis is displayed. Now doctors can design an individualized treatment plan, one that will have Tyrus giving high fives for years down the road.
Good job. Can you go back
Amy
to your
Freeze, WB2 News.
No problem. It's kind of a mix between a snowboard and a mountain bike.
The mountain board has 4 9-inch tires. It's a smooth ride that can take everything from dry ski slopes to jump ramps.
And right now they're thinking of one thing, that when the snow gets here, they want to be ready for it.
Big jumps like this indoor expo are part of training for the slopes this winter. Pro boarders say with a little balance, it's not as hard as it looks.
I think it's easier to learn this than it is to learn snowboarding. My mom could do this.
Okay, so jumping high runs in his family. But this sport is gaining participants. Originally, these boards were developed for off-season snowboarders. Now, both men and women, from rookies to serious athletes, are mountain boarding year-round.
It's excellent training for snowboarding.
It's just a total adrenaline rush. It's awesome. It's fun.
Says the future of the sport will most likely be found on dry ski slopes, keeping boarders busy till the snow arrives.
It's a very loud pop.
Sherry DeMaria knows tendons take time to heal. She tore her ACL skiing.
It's very difficult. It completely changes your life.
Her knowledge goes beyond her own injury. She's a physical therapist for ACL patients at University Hospital.
I would say it's a very common injury.
Dr. Lindsay Harris helped her recover.
Anterior cruciate ligament, ACL. And it's one of the 4 major ligaments in your knee that hold your knee together. It normally attaches from here to here. So
like Sherry's accident, ACL injuries happen most often during high-impact sports.
Soccer is a very high incidence. Skiing is a very high incidence.
Many injuries are diagnosed immediately, and although surgery is not always necessary, Harris says it's essential for those wanting to get back in action.
We replace the ligament with a piece of tendon from somewhere else in your body.
Using a small camera scope to identify the tear, he drills a hole and reattaches the new tendon with a special screw. Post-surgery, it's a waiting game.
No magic machines or magic lotions that we're rubbing on the knees.
DeMaria chose surgery and was able to get back to her normal routine. She returned to work in just 4 months.
I never promise people normality, but it comes pretty close.
Dr. Harris says while a pro athlete may take a little longer to get back on the field, ACL tears are serious no matter how they happen.
Your body's going to be at its own pace, and nobody can, as of yet, speed that process up.
They're in excellent shape this season. We're seeing a lot of big bulls out in the fields.
Green fields make for easy grazing. Water is readily available just about everywhere they roam.
This is like heaven on earth for the elk.
Herd after herd of healthy, strong elk. Yet big numbers don't necessarily mean the elk are easier to find.
They're also pioneering into new areas of the state as a result of the great habitat conditions.
Biologists report it's the best habitat conditions they've seen in decades, which could actually be a tricky situation for hunters this season.
If the forage conditions are abundant, then those animals tend to scatter more. Hunters are just going to have to work a little harder, but the possibility to harvest an animal is still very high.
Colorado has the largest herd in North America with about 230,000 elk. This traditionally makes for a great hunting season. Last year, the harvest was a record 51,000.
They're a little bit more scattered than we're used to seeing.
Just like they do every year, the division has published a review of all the herds here in Colorado. After studying elk statewide, they decide how many licenses should be issued to maintain the health of the herd.
Hunting is a management tool that the division uses to keep those herd size objectives so that we know that there's enough forage available for the animals.
Tradition ensues this weekend as hunters scope the plains and forest. It just may be a little harder finding their prey.
Absolutely. There's a great opportunity.
High school athletes, listen up. It takes more than good stats and a solid season to get a scholarship. It takes marketing.
1, 2, 3,
Bear Creek coach Steve Bruddock says it all starts with a little work off the field.
Step one is get your name out there. Step two is follow up with those coaches.
Even going online is an option. A Littleton family with 6 kids of their own has turned the whole strategy into an internet business.
Us providing this service, I think we can be an assistance to that student athlete.
The McNultys created a website that introduces coaches to athletes. It's a profile that's just one click away.
It's internet, so other colleges, if they don't necessarily want to stay in Colorado, other coaches can look at them.
So in addition to touchdowns and tackles, a little PR and creativity can make a big difference.
It's difficult for me to tell a student what their dream should be or what their dream shouldn't be. But I think most students will sell themselves short.
72, number 70.
Absolutely. It's worth it.
He's your best lineman. That is a tall order to fill.
So what kind of pace will you run?
About 5 minutes to 5:05 pace.
Oh my goodness.
John Hume slowed down long enough to talk about being a marathoner. He's so good, he's going for the Olympics.
I feel like it's a God-given gift to me to run, and I just have a need to do so.
He's training right now for the trials next spring, but even at his level, he admits 26.2 miles is a long way.
Too long, yeah. 26.2 is kind of brutal when you're trying to do it really fast.
I may not make the Olympics ever, but I'd like to run a marathon.
Run a marathon and complete a marathon. That's important. That's a very big thing.
Hume has some advice. He says start training about a year before your marathon.
Build up your long runs. Be consistent. Consistency is key.
He suggests running local 5 and 10K races for additional training and to find a partner who will help motivate you in any kind of weather.
It doesn't matter if it's cold or wet or warm. You just go out and you run, and it's a test for you and your body.
He says the last 6 miles are brutal, but to just focus on the finish line. I'll also keep in mind that while I may never go for the gold, tomorrow's race is getting Hume a stride closer to his dream.
I will give 100% shot at making the Olympic team, and then there's no looking back.
Amy Fries, WB2 News. "36 years ago, Rich Martino and his camera captured a symbol of the Cold War.
I just knew that if I did this, that someday I would probably make history.
His collection of 300 images detail the construction and installation of the intercontinental ballistic missile systems.
They were our biggest, strongest deterrent to war.
Just in his 20s, when the photos were taken, he got a variety of black and white and color shots, many of which are exclusive.
I got the idea that something from the bottom of the missile silo shooting up might be dramatic.
He instructed a crane operator to lower the multi-ton missile into position so he could get his shot.
I could see it swaying back and forth. It was very exciting, but I got the shot.
Risky business for a photographer. For one image, permission was granted from Washington to temporarily shut down a missile. Martino then dangled high above from a rope.
I went over to the edge of the silo, stuck the pod right on the edge of the missile silo, held my breath, and did a 1 second exposure. They gave me 5 minutes to do it in. I did 8 shots.
Almost 4 decades later, the Smithsonian is interested in his work. Martino believes the exhibit will be important for both local and national heritage.
I'm willing to donate them because I think it's making my mark in history, a little scratch on the world.
Definitely want something that's going to grip on a wet or icy road this time of year in an emergency situation.
Tire shops all over town are busy getting drivers ready for winter weather.
I skidded yesterday on the snow and decided it's time to get them replaced.
But what kind of tire do you really need? What's too much for city driving, and what will do the job in all kinds of weather?
The bare necessity would be good all-season tires, but all-season tires are only adequate for average to light snowfalls. A snow tire has more void or more opening in the tread, gives you more bite. Snow tires also, the rubber compounds are designed to stay softer at colder temperatures.
For additional traction, tires can be put through a process called siping. This process cuts 90-degree angles across the tread, which grips the road and allows for better braking. But if you need guaranteed performance out of your tires come rain, sleet, or snow, the safest choice is...
Four-studded snow tires are probably the best traction possible.
$1.99. I'm not going to take any chances.
Some Elizabeth residents took the recommendation seriously, scooping up several gallons of purified water.
We're not real concerned, but we figured what the heck.
Just until we hear that it's safe to drink the water out of the tap.
As far as I know, we haven't had anybody that I know of being real sick or that showed these symptoms.
Roy Hackett found the 2 positive water samples that led to the warning. One had E. coli and the other had total coliform. But he says not to worry.
Concerned but not scared to use the water. We have probably some of the best drinking water in the state, and I'm not afraid to drink it.
He thinks the water samples from a nearby construction site may have been mislabeled before being tested.
I would tell them to go ahead and drink it and use it.
He says no one should be alarmed. Elizabeth residents had to be notified because of state regulations, yet some say they'll play it safe.
I'm on a well out here, so I think I'm okay. But I have a son with muscular dystrophy, and I just don't want to take any chances. So.
Alexandra has been painting on canvas for half her life. While most kids her age play with dolls, she creates abstract images of love, rainbows, and world peace.
I had my first exhibit when I was 8.
This Romanian-born artist isn't even old enough to drive, but her works are internationally known. Several paintings were recently on exhibit here in Denver. Alexandra says she overcame intense teasing from her peers, and with her parents' help has followed her passion.
They realized that I was creating my own forms and shapes and coloring those in. So from there on, my parents, they gave me canvases, they gave me paints.
Nicknamed Alexandra the Great, she's now working to raise money for other aspiring young artists who may not have had the same encouraging environment that she has.
I realized how important it is to encourage children to in some way really find their passion, be it in painting and dance, whatever it may be, and to discover and to have the opportunities given to them and to allow them to choose.
Now that she's been given her opportunity, Alexandra hopes others will be given theirs. Amy Freeze, WB2 News.
Hello, this is Scott.
Scott Patillo admits he was skeptical at first, but now he saves $20 a month on long-distance calls.
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. It's all click, point, and talk.
And it doesn't cost a dime.
It's as free as you can get it.
All you need is a microphone, a computer, an internet connection, and the right software.
The software is free as well.
Free, as in free lunch, free spirit, free ride. Now there's free talk. A webpage has all the details. PhoneFree.com. It's run by Colorado State grad Jan Horsfall.
The genie's out of the bottle here. This is free. Literally within 5 minutes, you can be making a phone call to somebody else using a computer and not paying for that long-distance phone call. There's no peak times, there's no off time.
Instantly installed, a virtual phone and phone book are displayed on your computer. The web company can offer this entire setup without cost because of their internet advertising. Technology pays for the rest.
It's using the internet backbone. It's not using a paid-for network that a phone company would be providing.
But don't cancel your long-distance plan just yet. The people you want to call must have the same software setup you have in order for you to connect. How much will it cost them?
It doesn't cost a thing. It is absolutely free.
The number you have reached has been disconnected. No further information is available.
Technology is driving a new transportation trend. An alternative to loud, smelly mass transit.
How do we compare to what other cities around the country are doing?
Well, I think Boulder and the Denver area are playing their part. We are trying to test new technologies.
By trying a new breed of bus. It's fueled by compressed natural gas. RTD calls it a citizen request.
The community told us that they wanted to see alternative fueled vehicles.
Select RTD buses on the Skip line are decorated with dome-shaped roofs housing compressed natural gas.
When you first get on the bus, you notice that the natural gas bus typically has a green dome on the top of it. And the other thing you might notice is that the CNG bus is a little quieter.
On the road 2 years already, a new federal study legitimizes their effect on Boulder's air quality.
The purpose of the study was to compare the performance and the emissions of the buses in service.
Using 3 buses over 90,000 miles, dramatic results were reported. For instance, 97% less particulate matter released into the air.
We were able to prove through back-to-back testing that the emissions are far lower than even modern diesel engines.
The next step for RTD will be to take a look at cost and reliability of these environmentally friendly vehicles.
This technology, like several of the other alternative fuels technologies, can show us how we can make the air better to breathe, and that's what Boulder residents and Colorado residents want.
Will Spence knows about physical limitations, but he also realizes the limitless possibility of technology.
As far as I'm concerned, technology, especially for disabled people, is one of their best friends. It helps them become more independent.
His ideas sparked a virtual reality pilot project The first site was the Golden Recreation Center. Through digital multimedia, users can access a 360-degree panoramic view, everything from parking information to the size of the doors. The whole experience is meant to relieve anxiety.
Even myself and a lot of other disabled people is the unexpected, you know, not knowing what to expect.
Well, Will has always told me that what he really wanted to do was use technology to assist other people with disabilities.
Clark Gurman and Jane Broda are helping him do it. Along with Will, they are designing more virtual reality tours, all with the focus to remove barriers.
Not knowing whether doors will open for them automatically or drinking fountains will turn on, or that they can even reach telephones to make a phone call.
Just a point and a click. Pictures, sounds, and information simulating a real-life experience, an almost therapeutic way of taking people places they want to go.
Gives the person who's disabled a tremendous amount of freedom, and from the freedom, it's easier for a person to, I think, gain self-independence.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Listen, says Jesus, I am coming soon.
God? Throughout time, prophets have written about a doomsday.
Even Jesus had expectations that the end was near.
A time of judgment, even a second coming of Christ.
There would be a certain quick coming again.
Theology, both old and new, predicts a dramatic world change. Just when that will be seems to be more faith than fact.
The year 1000, there was panic in Rome and Jerusalem, and people thought this was the time.
More recent false alarms, the cult predictions of Jim Jones, the crisis at Waco, and Heaven's Gate.
Pray for me that none of these things happen to me.
And daily over the TV airwaves, evangelists deliver sermons that include subtle suggestions that the end is near.
When he hears what I have to say today.
Be very wary of people reading into scripture text. We have thousands of years of people trying to read into the Bible.
Theologians acknowledge a long line of those seeking to shed new light on old revelation, but prefer to shift the focus onto mainstream churchgoers.
They will see the occasion as a time for bringing their lives together and wondering how biblical understandings can contribute meaning rather than predictions of supernatural activities.
Another possible trend is those seeking religion for the first time, or perhaps those converting from one faith to another.
There is a hunger for meaning, for purpose, for understanding the mysteries of life and hoping to better understand the mysteries of God.
Y2K, a survival revival, a chance for hope, or perhaps that revelation of a brilliant fire that will burn in the sky. It seems faith is just as unpredictable as the future itself.
All time belongs to God. No time is particularly special. The future belongs to God.
Some of absolutely the best skiers in the entire world will be here.
For being 65 degrees, the snow is very hard.
Good terrain, good knolls, and good features.
Copper Mountain puts its best foot forward. They take a jump start for this weekend's opening day by getting a huge honor.
It's about as big an event as a World Series or a Super Bowl is here in the United States. It's really going to put Copper Mountain on an international stage.
Speculation ends and reality sets in. Copper Mountain will be among the ski resorts hosting the World Cup in a matter of days.
They needed a place to move their venue when they didn't have enough snow in Utah.
No real powder in Colorado either, but Copper's $7 million investment in snowmakers and about 12 hours of cold temperatures each night, and it's the best machine-made snow you'll find out west.
Every single night, you have about 50 or 60 of these running in operation, making snow at various areas on the mountain.
Smooth white runs, powdered slices, and the races are on.
We're very confident that we can pull this off and make it a great event and essentially save the World Cup.
Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane.
When it's not Christmas, Gene Musgrave lifts lumber instead of toys. His forklift, though, resembles his holiday transportation.
Santa's got a hot rod sleigh.
Ho, ho, ho.
I am a clerk dock worker here at HVH.
After 6, Gene transforms himself into the man in a bright red suit.
When I'm in the suit, I am the real Santa.
Santa Gene joins the newest North Pole recruits. They've got bellies, beards, and...
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
Fully trained in reindeers, elves, and sleighs, Santa School graduates from all over the U.S. have mastered toys, tots, and tunes.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Santas take the jolly oath.
I promise to use my Santa.
Gene promises to fulfill that Kris Kringle legend.
And a positive memory that will last forever.
Time ticks a little closer towards 2000. And while some anticipate a yawner, a survival checklist may keep you from being bitten.
And you can go through the checklist. 3 to 5 days is a good number to have just for emergency crews to do what they need to do to get everything back online.
Basic supplies like matches and candles will keep you out of the dark.
I'd prepare for it like you would if you were going to have a major snowstorm.
Gadgets like this, a wind-up flashlight radio, or miniature Duraflames may seem like real luxuries in an emergency.
The big trend that I've seen is people are concerned about heat, being the winter's coming, and how good the water's going to be.
A purifying water pump should not be left off your checklist, but with tens of thousands of items, everything from gas masks to canteens to freeze-dried foods and MREs, how do you narrow it down to the basic necessities?
Insulated, uninsulated canteens.
Starting with heat, find something for both warmth and cooking. For water, 2 gallons of water per person per day. And food, MREs, meals ready to eat.
These are actually specifically designed you can eat them cold.
Create your own survival checklist like this, focusing on heat and light. For water, make sure you can purify it, and don't forget food for at least 3 days.
It doesn't cost a lot of money to get prepared, but a couple $100 to be safe.
For Y2K skeptics, the survivalism movement may seem like big business for surplus stores, but Smith says come bug or bust, you won't regret planning ahead.
3 to 5 days doesn't hurt to have anyway stored up in your house. It's just, I think it's good common sense.
It's no Sunday drive in Denver. There's hustle and bustle as a storm rolls in.
We're ready to go. Yeah, this is what a lot of guys enjoy doing, believe it or not.
CDOT crews patrol I-25 looking for road hazards.
There's a possibility that this tree may go ahead and go over, and depending on the weight of the snow or if there was more winds, it could possibly blow out.
Branches are cut away, power lines are cleared. As night falls, city-county workers unlock the gates for the first overtime shift this season.
What's going to be a long night for us?
Snowplows are filled with new chemicals. The Ice Slicer mix is being used for the first time citywide. It's designed to eat through the snow, making for a smoother commute tomorrow.
It's mainly a melting compound. It'll get rid of the snow and ice quicker.
Over the next several hours, supervisors will monitor road temperatures with street thermometers, deciding when and where to dispatch crews.
So the streets of Vidox will give you different readings, and this way we can react to that with our chemicals.
And with all the preparation done by maintenance crews tonight, tomorrow is up to you.
Take their time, get up early, like everybody always tells them, and just be careful.
Yeah, a lot better than home. There's a lot more snow.
It's no secret, winter has arrived in the Rockies.
I love it.
We just had a run that was unbelievable. We couldn't ask for anything better. Yeah.
Colorado ski resorts couldn't have asked for better timing. Fresh powder, just days before the holidays.
We're setting the table nicely for Thanksgiving.
Add to the treat a nationally televised Monday night football game with a wintry backdrop. Consider it an early appetizer.
We have the football game featuring some snow in the Mile High City. That's like getting your pumpkin pie to eat first. It'd be just perfect for us.
With nearly a foot of fresh snow, resorts are carving out plans for a dynamite season.
You get the folks back home, getting them to brag about their early season skiing at Breckenridge.
Jesse Clark over the right side, and the third.
Like they did in 1984 when a nationally televised Broncos game lit up resort reservation lines. They're hoping tonight's advertisement will send the same message, loud and clear.
We're open for business, and we feel really good about it.
It's very much a last chance before these guys perhaps go to jail.
A 100-acre ranch in the middle of the Rockies. It's considered a safe haven, often a final opportunity to heal.
I thank you for those who prepared the food.
This Thanksgiving feast is a rare opportunity for boys who don't know much about holidays, traditions, or happy beginnings.
I was constantly high or drunk, and I was robbing people and houses and cars, and just, I don't know, getting in a lot of fights.
That was 9 months ago. Life for 16-year-old Eric has come a long way since then. Although his expectations in the beginning were nothing more than a safe place to go.
I was happy to be in a comfortable bed, and I thought the staff were real nice.
Eric is among 75 other kids here at the ranch. They use various forms of therapy, everything from dogs to llamas to steers, even horses.
They put me on a horse blindfolded and kept on having me ride in different positions until finally I couldn't stay on without asking for help.
Twist it. Horse therapy at the ranch has a high rate of success. Residents groom, train, and interact with the animals. The result is behavior control and the ability to develop relationships.
I think Eric has just made some real positive relationships here.
Teacher Dave Molyneux says when a child comes to the center, they receive therapy, education, and treatment. But the goal is a simple one, to give each young man a desire for change. Eric is one of their successes.
He has really looked at himself and appreciated, he's made some poor choices in the past, and now he's thinking, if I carry on that route, I'm going to end up in jail.
I'm getting ready to go to college. I want to become a chef.
Someday cooking up his own Thanksgiving dinner, and on his way to a happy ending.
Getting home.
For some, today was a pain in the butt. for others, the Sunday after Thanksgiving was an adventure.
I like it. They get to go really fast on the first part.
I like when we take off. It's pretty fun.
It's all about perspective. The airport experience looks a little different when you're 3 feet high.
And when the seatbelt sign is on, it's hot. I just play with my toys. I don't like sitting around and waiting for the planes.
Little people stopping to window shop. They spend their time skipping, jumping, and playing, all without the worries of their elders.
Have you ever called the airport and got the robot?
Not too sure if they're coming or going. Kids seem to handle the hectic travel schedule in stride.
I like to go on the running walkways.
And what's this? Applause at the airport? DIA's traditional entertainment changes the tune for both young and old. It seems the holiday memories are still being made, even after all the turkey is gone.
We're going to have to keep building parking to just keep up with it until such time as we do get some public transportation to and from the airport.
Behind the scenes of his new movie, What Lies Beneath, Harrison Ford is on task. He's straight-faced and focused. Ford is such a mega movie star. When I went to meet him, I decided to take a birthday card from the staff to help break the ice.
Second. I got a little vent in the drive.
Oh.
Ford turned 54 this month. Sure, he's getting a little gray in a few spots, but when it comes to scary movies, he's just getting started.
This is a different different kind of film than I've done before. I haven't really done a scary movie. And the character is intriguing to me. So he's a bit different, but only a bit different than other characters I've played.
Still as charming as ever.
Well.
Hello, Dr. Spencer.
Mrs. Spencer.
When I tried to get the behind-the-scenes scoop on Michelle Pfeiffer and what it's like to make a scary movie, Ford exposed his dry sense of humor, but remained very tight-lipped.
Any fun behind-the-scenes stories that you would share? None? Absolutely none?
None. We had no fun whatsoever. It was just hard work. Guess this means you're not mad at me anymore, huh? Michelle was a great pleasure to work with. She's thoroughly prepared and enthusiastic about her work and easy to work with. It's fun.
When it comes to the plot of the movie, Harrison's lips are really sealed. He wants moviegoers to come without expectations.
I think this is the kind of film you can come to without knowing very much, and your pleasure will be preserved for the surprises that are part of the story.
I heard noises. I didn't want to disturb. There's a ghost in my house.
Any idea what she wants?
She said...
Wow, Harrison Ford. By the way, ladies, the card was a hit.